Your home might be silently rejecting the very things you're working so hard to invite in. Wealth, health, harmony, love, you clean, organize, even renovate, but something still feels stuck. The days feel heavier. The air feels stale no matter how often you open the windows. You can't quite explain it, but it's there, like a light that never fully turns on. What if the real issue isn't inside the house, but the way it's facing? Most people never ask that question. They focus on what's inside: furniture, colors, clutter, without realizing the most powerful shift begins before you even walk through the door. In Feng Shui, the direction your house faces acts like a gate. When that gate is aligned, energy flows in, bringing opportunity, peace, connection. But when it's blocked or misaligned, life gets harder in subtle, draining ways. You might feel tired even after sleeping well. Your relationships become tense without reason. Money comes but doesn't stay. Moments of joy feel brief, not because something is broken, but because something isn't open. And here's the truth. Many beautiful homes are quietly facing the wrong way. Outwardly perfect, inwardly unbalanced. The good news? You don't need to move. You just need to see clearly where your home is facing and whether it aligns with the life you want to live. So let me ask you, is your front door opening toward possibility or turning its back on it? Part 1. How to know where your house is really facing. Most people don't actually know which way their house is facing, and it matters far more than they think. You might assume the front door tells you everything. Or maybe it's the direction your windows open to, or where the sunrise hits. But here's the truth. Misunderstanding your home's orientation is one of the most common reasons energy gets stuck. And when energy doesn't flow, neither do opportunities, clarity, or well-being. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you stood outside your front door and truly noticed what your home is receiving? Is there open space ahead, a road leading in, or at least room for sunlight and fresh air to meet you? Or are you met by a brick wall, a row of tightly packed trees, or a dark porch that never seems to feel fully alive? The way your house is positioned in its environment sets the tone for everything that happens inside. If the entrance feels cramped or visually blocked, you're not just limiting curb appeal, you're limiting life's access to you. In Feng Shui, the facing direction is not symbolic, it's practical. It defines how energy enters and circulates through your home. Think of it like your home's breathing pattern. Just as our breath brings life into our bodies, the orientation of your home brings life, or stagnation, into your space. And just like shallow breathing weakens the body over time, a misaligned front can slowly drain a household of vitality. So how do you find your home's true facing direction? Step outside during mid-morning when the sun is gentle but steady. Stand at your front door, yes, the one you and your guests most often use, and look straight ahead. What do you see? The view your home greets is often the same direction energy enters from. If there's an open road, a welcoming front yard, a spacious sidewalk, this is where energy can move freely and nourish your space. But if there's a wall, a sharp slope, clutter, or permanent shadow, this might be a sign your home isn't positioned to receive what you've been asking for. This isn't abstract, it's visible. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Many people live in beautiful homes that feel off, and they can't explain why. They renovate, repaint, rearrange furniture, but the heaviness lingers. That's because none of those changes fix the home's relationship to what it faces. Imagine trying to grow a garden in soil that never gets sun. No matter how carefully you plant, something will always feel missing. And when the direction is wrong, even your most loving intentions can feel like they never land. The front-facing direction becomes even more important when you consider how Americans live. We spend so much time indoors, working from home, aging in place, raising families. Our homes are no longer just shelters. They're our emotional containers. And when your emotional container faces a dead end, literally, it reflects in your daily experience. You feel more tired, less inspired, more irritable, less connected. Your home should lift you. It should catch the light before you need it and breathe for you when you forget to. But that can only happen when the door is pointed toward flow, not resistance. Here, what you can do today without any tools or charts. Take a quiet moment. Step outside and face away from your home. Look at what's in front of you. Ask yourself, does this feel like an opening or a barrier? Then go back inside and observe your front entry from within. Does it feel spacious, clear, open to possibility? Or is it squeezed, dim, or hidden? If something feels blocked, it probably is. But don't worry, awareness is powerful. You don't need to tear down walls or build new entrances. Sometimes, even clearing out overgrown bushes, adding lighting, or hanging a simple wind chime can begin to reintroduce flow. The key is not perfection, it's alignment. When your house faces in a way that matches your intentions, life feels easier. Coincidences happen more often. You feel in the right place without knowing why. That's not magic, it's resonance. So before you rearrange one more piece of furniture or light another scented candle, ask yourself, what is my home facing? And is it helping me face life with it? That question might just open the very door you've been waiting for. Part 2, East, the direction where light begins. There's something sacred about morning light, and homes that face east are the first to receive it. Before the neighborhood fully wakes, before the first sip of coffee, the eastern light quietly enters, bringing with it a sense of freshness that's hard to describe but easy to feel. It doesn't shout, it gently lifts. And for homes aligned with this direction, that early invitation from the sun becomes part of your daily rhythm. East-facing homes have long been associated with beginnings. Not just because the sun rises there, but because the quality of that light, soft, golden, full of promise, reminds us of what's possible. For those who live in homes facing east, mornings often carry more clarity. You may feel a natural pull toward productivity, peace, and positive thought. The light doesn't just brighten the room, it activates something in you. If you've ever woken up in a home where the sunlight touched your bed before your alarm did, you know this feeling. It's grounding, centering, and somehow motivational without pressure. And if you've never experienced it, that absence may explain why mornings feel like a battle instead of a beginning. From an energetic perspective, East represents growth, creativity, and forward motion. It's the direction of the rising sun, the start of the day, and symbolically, the start of new cycles. In homes that face east, there's often a more natural flow to decision-making, organization, and mental clarity, especially in the early hours. This is why east-facing homes are ideal for artists, teachers, entrepreneurs, and anyone whose day depends on self-direction. That first light becomes a quiet accountability partner reminding you, you're alive. Let's begin. But the benefits aren't just symbolic. Exposure to morning sunlight plays a direct role in regulating circadian rhythms, improving mood, and enhancing vitamin D production. Especially for older adults, early light supports better sleep at night and more consistent energy throughout the day. It's not surprising that people in east-facing homes often report feeling more balanced emotionally and mentally, not because their lives are easier, but because their homes support their biology. That said, no direction is perfect for everyone. East-facing homes can be especially energizing. which may feel overstimulating for those who naturally lean toward sensitivity or introversion. If you find yourself overwhelmed by early light or too mentally switched on before you're ready, that's your cue to soften the energy. Light, gauzy curtains, pale earth tones, and gentle wood textures can help regulate that brightness into something more calming. It's also important to consider how the energy flows into the home. If your east-facing house is blocked by tall fences, dense shrubs, or neighboring walls, the light won't have space to reach you. In that case, you may experience the frustration of knowing the energy should be there, but not feeling its effects. The solution doesn't always require structural change. Even clearing away clutter, trimming plants, or cleaning the front windows can reawaken that connection. Sometimes, the difference between feeling heavy and feeling supported is simply the ability to see out and let the world see in. If you live in a home that doesn't face east but you crave the qualities it brings, you can still invite its energy in. Use mirrors to reflect morning light deeper into your home. Create a morning ritual in the easternmost room of the house, even if it's just 5 minutes of quiet reflection. Light a candle, open a window, or sit in stillness with the rising day. Energy doesn't need full permission to enter. It just needs a clear path. Ultimately, the east-facing home teaches us one thing: how we begin matters. The first light of the day sets the tone for how we speak, think, and respond. When your home catches that light before the world gets loud, you're more likely to move through your day with steadiness instead of stress. So if your house faces east, pay attention to how your mornings feel, that clarity you sense. It's not coincidence, it's alignment. And if you don't have that yet, you can still create it. Because in the quiet moments before the world rushes in, we get to choose. Do we step into the light or let it pass us by? Part 3, South, the warmth that gathers people and power. There's a reason ancient builders, from kings to architects, revered the south-facing home. It wasn't just about status, it was about alignment with something enduring. In the northern hemisphere, the south is where the sun lingers longest. It's where warmth accumulates, where shadows soften, and where a house quietly becomes a beacon, not just a shelter. If your home faces south, you may have noticed something subtle but powerful. Guests tend to linger longer, conversations seem to flow easier, and rooms feel naturally welcoming, especially in the afternoon. It's not your imagination. It's the energy. South-facing homes absorb light deeply and radiate it back through the day. That warmth doesn't just heat the walls, it nourishes relationships, uplifts moods, and fosters openness. This direction is known for amplifying charisma, visibility, and social energy. It's ideal for people who lead, connect, or create. Entrepreneurs, performers, educators, therapists, or anyone who carries responsibility in a family or community. The energy of the South supports those who are seen, heard, and counted on. And for those who may not naturally seek the spotlight, a south-facing home gently encourages confidence and voice. It invites you to show up in the world, not louder but fuller. But south-facing homes do more than energize. They offer stability and structure, especially when life feels unpredictable. Think of a sunlit living room at 3 p.m. Solid, grounded, quietly expansive. That's the feeling this direction brings. A sense that no matter what's happening outside, inside there is enough light, enough space, enough calm to carry through. However, as with all powerful energies, balance is key. The same warmth that supports connection can, in excess, become overwhelming. For households already full of extroverts, intense schedules, or strong personalities, the south-facing energy may heighten dynamics that need more grounding. You might notice heightened emotional sensitivity, increased restlessness, or a sense that everything feels on all the time. If that's the case, consider softening the space with natural textures, linen, clay, cool-toned wood, or introducing calming colors like pale greens, grays, or muted blues to temper the fire. For older adults especially, the benefits of a south-facing home go beyond energy and emotion. These homes often enjoy better passive heating in the winter, brighter indoor spaces that reduce reliance on artificial lighting, and enhanced visibility, reducing physical and mental strain. The combination of light and warmth isn't just comforting, it's protective. Yet no home is automatically harmonious. If your south-facing home feels off, look to what's blocking the energy. Are there thick curtains closed all day? Is the front path cluttered or uninviting? Has the landscaping grown wild, unintentionally shielding the entryway? Even subtle blockages can create a disconnect. A south-facing house that doesn't feel warm likely isn't receiving its full share of energy. The fix might be as simple as trimming hedges, cleaning windows, or repainting the door with an inviting, vibrant color. And if you don't live in a south-facing house but desire its qualities, visibility, connection, steady confidence, you can still activate that energy within your space. Designate a southern wall or room for gatherings, reading, or meaningful conversations. Add a warm-toned lamp, place family photos, or create a small altar of intention. Energy responds to direction, yes, but also to focus. At its heart, the south-facing home teaches us about presence, about showing up as ourselves, fully and without apology. It teaches us how to hold space for others, to become a source of light without burning out. It reminds us that leadership doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be steady, just like the sun. So if your house faces south, embrace its invitation, open the curtains, clear the path, sit with the light. Let it warm you from the inside out. And if you're home, but your heart longs for more connection, more strength, more recognition, start by asking, where in my life do I already shine? And how can I let that warmth touch others? Because power isn't about control, it's about radiance. And radiance begins quietly, consistently, where the light stays longest. Part 4, Southeast, the gentle balance between flow and fortune. Some homes don't shout abundance, they whisper it. They don't overwhelm with light or space, but offer just enough of both exactly when you need it. That's the quiet gift of a southeast-facing home. It doesn't command attention, yet it supports almost every kind of life transition with a rare kind of grace. The southeast direction is where morning softness meets afternoon steadiness. It captures the tail end of sunrise and welcomes early warmth, but avoids the harshness of midday glare. For the people living there, this translates into an environment that feels simultaneously light and grounding. You wake up gently, not jarringly. You move through the day with clarity, but without pressure. And by evening, you feel like you've done enough, even if the world still spins. This direction is especially powerful for those navigating change, or carrying many roles: caregivers, creatives, educators, or women rebuilding a new chapter after loss or transition. A southeast-facing home doesn't rush you. It honors your pace. It gives you permission to evolve without burning out. There's a subtle magic in the way these homes hold energy. They tend to inspire adaptability. You may find yourself more open to new ideas, better at listening to your own needs, more able to respond instead of react. It's a flow state, but grounded, not the chaotic, overly stimulating kind that burns fast and fizzles. Instead, it's like a quiet current moving beneath the surface of your day, keeping you in motion without forcing a destination. Southeast is also known as a direction of gentle prosperity, not the windfall lottery kind, but the long-term, soul-aligned kind. Think slow-growing investments, a renewed sense of purpose, relationships that deepen over time. It's ideal for people who are building something meaningful, a business, a creative practice, a deeper family connection. If east is the spark and south is the fire, then southeast is the steady candle you keep returning to, warm, enduring, illuminating. That's why the energy of this direction is especially supportive for women in midlife and beyond. When your inner rhythm no longer matches the world's frantic pace, the southeast helps restore your natural flow. It's a soft encouragement to listen inward, to trust your timing, and to let fortune arrive without demanding it. Of course, even gentle energy can be blocked. If your southeast-facing home feels uninspired, cluttered, or dim, it's not the direction's fault. It's the build-up. Life accumulates in corners, unopened mail, items you might use someday, gifts you didn't really love but didn't throw away. The southeast is incredibly sensitive to these small accumulations. If energy can't breathe, it stagnates. So the question becomes, how can you invite flow back in? Start small. Open the windows before noon and let the air move through. Place something green and growing near the entrance or in a southeastern corner of your main living space. Plants are especially potent here, not just as decoration, but as living symbols of growth, receptivity, and balance. You can also incorporate soft fabrics, gentle music, or even flowing water features to reinforce that movement. Avoid harsh, sharp materials in this area. Instead, think of creating a space where decisions are made from clarity, not urgency. A room where conversation doesn't echo, it resonates. A home where nothing feels rushed, yet everything still gets done. If your home doesn't face southeast but you long for what it offers, you can still bring that essence into your daily rhythm. Begin the day slowly. Brew tea. Write a few lines in a journal. Create a sacred pause before emails, before errands, before responsibilities call. It's not about geography. It's about honoring the space within yourself that moves with intention, not inertia. Because here's the deeper truth. Fortune isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper in the wind, a shift in the light, a moment of peace between tasks. Homes that face southeast help you hear it. So if your house greets the world from this gentle angle, take time to notice how it holds you. How it asks nothing but gives steadily. And if you're in a different place, but longing for more ease, more trust in the process, perhaps the southeast is not a direction on your compass, but an invitation in your life. To let good things unfold at their own perfect pace. Part 5 West, the direction of slow-growing wealth. There's a quiet confidence in a west-facing home. It doesn't sparkle in the morning or flood with midday brightness. But come late afternoon, when the rest of the world begins to wind down, this home glows. It holds the light just a little longer, like someone who stays calm while others rush. West-facing homes are for those who value lasting effort over instant results. They support patience, discipline, and the kind of wealth that grows slowly, layer by layer, year by year. This isn't the direction of bold beginnings. It's the direction of completion, reflection, and steady accumulation. Think retirement savings, family legacy, emotional maturity. The kind of richness that can't be bought quickly, but is deeply felt over time. If you live in a west-facing home, you may already sense its deeper rhythm. The day starts gently, giving you time to move inward, prepare quietly, and save your energy. But by mid to late afternoon, the house comes alive. The sun enters boldly, casting golden warmth across your floors and walls. There's a peace to that light, Not the energizing spark of morning, but the soft assurance that you've made it through another day and that you're still standing strong. This direction is especially supportive for people in transitional or grounding phases, those entering retirement, recovering from burnout, or rebuilding after loss. It encourages reflection without regret. It teaches that growth isn't always visible, but it's still happening. The West also supports people in finance, law, real estate, or any field where outcomes unfold over time. It's where careful choices compound, where consistent action leads to long-term results. If East is for pioneers and South for leaders, then West is for the wise. For those who know that slow doesn't mean stagnant, it means intentional. But like all strong energies, the West has its complexities. The afternoon sun can be intense, especially in warmer climates, making some rooms feel hot, bright, or exposed. Without the right balance, this heat can become uncomfortable, even agitating. You may feel more irritable in the late day, find it harder to relax, or struggle to cool your space physically and emotionally. That's where design becomes key. To soften the energy, use cooling elements, light filtering curtains, indoor plants, calming colors like ivory, sage, or pale gray. Add layers of texture, linen, cotton, clay, to absorb and ground the light. A bowl of water, a soft rug, or even a piece of art that evokes calm can redirect intensity into gentleness. Clutter, however, is the true disruptor in west-facing homes. Because this direction is tied to legacy and reflection, old energy tends to settle here. Photos you haven't looked at in years, paperwork from a different life stage, boxes of "I'll deal with it later." That buildup can make the energy feel heavy, even if the space is visually clean. Letting go becomes crucial, not because those items aren't meaningful, but because your life is meant to keep moving. If your home doesn't face west, but you want what it offers, stability, reflection, gradual wealth, you can still activate that frequency. Create a ritual in the late afternoon. A gratitude list, a gentle walk, a moment of stillness as the day ends. Place grounding items in the western part of your home, stones, books, heirlooms, things that remind you who you are and how far you've come. More than any other direction, the West invites closure without rush. It teaches you how to finish things well, not just fast. It supports long marriages, long friendships, long-held dreams, not with drama, but with devotion. And in a world obsessed with new beginnings, there's something quietly radical about choosing steadiness. About saying, I don't need to hurry, I just need to stay true. So if your home faces west, honor its timing. Let the sun in, but let it rest. Let the day end not with a crash, but with a quiet kind of certainty. And if you feel stuck or heavy in a west-facing space, ask gently, is there something I'm still holding that's already finished? Because sometimes, wealth arrives when we finally release what's complete and make room for what's meant to remain. Part 6, North, Quiet Wisdom and the Long Path Forward. Not all strength is loud, not all growth is visible. Some of the most powerful homes are the quietest, and none more so than those facing north. At first glance, a north-facing home might seem understated. It doesn't catch the sunrise. It doesn't glow with afternoon heat. But step inside and you'll find something else entirely, a calm that doesn't fade. A steadiness that asks nothing, but gives everything over time. In Feng Shui, north represents stillness, introspection, and endurance. It's associated with deep waters, long-term thinking, and the kind of clarity that comes not from speaking, but from listening. North-facing homes naturally support those who seek wisdom, privacy, and purpose. They are sanctuaries for thinkers, healers, writers, and anyone who builds slowly, intentionally, and without applause. If your home faces north, you may already sense this energy. There's less glare, fewer distractions, and a gentle pause in the rhythm of daily life. It's the kind of home that encourages quiet mornings, long cups of tea, and windowsill moments watching the world go by, not because you're detached, but because you're tuned in. But this deep stillness, while powerful, can also become isolating. Too much north-facing energy without balance can lead to introspection that turns into overthinking, calm that slips into stagnation, and solitude that feels more like loneliness. You may begin to feel invisible or emotionally distant, not because anything is wrong, but because nothing seems to be moving. That's when alignment matters most. To thrive in a north-facing home, you must actively engage with the energy it offers. Create rituals that support clarity and movement, morning journaling, soft music, light stretching, or walks at dawn. Use mirrors or warm lighting to brighten shadowed areas. Add symbols of vitality, candles, plants, textured fabrics, to encourage flow without disrupting peace. The North supports careers that require consistency and structure: science, education, public service, long-term leadership. It favors responsibility over reaction, depth over performance. If you're building something that won't bloom overnight, whether a project, a legacy, or a life, you may find your best ideas arrive in the hush of a north-facing space. For older adults especially, north-facing homes offer a kind of soul-level alignment. They ease the pressure to rush. They remind you that reflection is just as meaningful as ambition. That wisdom doesn't fade, it simply deepens if we make space for it. Yet if your life is in a phase that needs momentum, perhaps a new business, a fresh start, or a burst of creativity, a north-facing home might feel too still. That's not a flaw, it's a signal. It means you may need to bring in more warmth, more motion, more invitation. A sunrise lamp in the bedroom, brighter textiles, a small indoor fountain to simulate the flow of water. You're not changing the energy, you're softening its edges so it meets you where you are. If your home doesn't face north but you seek its wisdom, create a dedicated space for deep focus. A reading chair near a window, a meditation cushion, a small desk with no distractions. North isn't about decoration, it's about discipline. It invites you to hold a vision, stay with the process, and let your roots go deeper than your doubts. Because in a world that prizes speed and visibility, North reminds us that what lasts often grows in silence. That legacy is built slowly. That wisdom isn't loud, it listens. And that the path forward doesn't have to be flashy to be true. So if your house faces north, honor its invitation. Slow down. Pay attention to what you're becoming, not just what you're doing. Let the stillness guide you, not to retreat from life, but to re-enter it with clarity and grace. And if your home faces elsewhere, but your soul feels drawn to quieter truths, remember, north is not just a direction. It's a way of being. It's the long path forward, the one where nothing is wasted, nothing is rushed, and everything that matters endures. Final, you've just taken a journey through 5 directions, but the most important one now is inward. East, south, southeast, west, north. Each one carries its own rhythm, its own lesson, its own invitation. One offers vitality. Another connection. One brings patience. Another wisdom. None of them promise magic, but each has the potential to unlock something in you if you know how to listen. And maybe that's the deeper truth of Feng Shui, not that your home must be perfect, but that your awareness of it can become more precise, more intentional, more alive. Because when we begin to notice what our homes are aligned with, we begin to notice what we are aligned with. And that's when life begins to shift. There is no best direction, not really. There's only the direction that meets you where you are in your life, with the energy you most need at this moment. A house that faces east may help you start again. A south-facing home might open the door to confidence you forgot you had. The southeast could bring grace to a transition you didn't choose but must now honor. The west may remind you to slow down and build something that lasts. And the north could finally give your wisdom the stillness it's been waiting for. But the home itself is never the destination. You are. Feng Shui at its best is not about superstition. It's about resonance. And every time your home resonates more closely with your truth, your choices, your needs, life starts to feel less like a struggle and more like a current you can trust. So ask yourself gently, what have I been trying to force that could be solved by flow? What parts of my home reflect who I've been, and what corners are waiting for who I'm becoming? Maybe this is the real question. Is your house facing the right direction? Or are you just now beginning to?